Alicia and Mena, it's lovely to meet you. Hollywood stars like yourselves more and more are going to television. Why is that, do you think?
I mean, for me, I've always been drawn to a particular type of material that I feel like I didn't always find in studio filmmaking per se. And everything aside, at the end of the day, my job is an actor and I need to and want to work. And I also wanted to know that my work was going to be seen. And sometimes, you know, that wasn't always guaranteed. There were times I'd work on a film and, you know, it just, you don't always necessarily know how it's going to come out or where or whatnot or when. And there was this sort of guarantee for me, and that was appealing in television, is to know that you could put in the work and that people would be able to receive it and acknowledge it. And then the opportunity to actually work on something where you're creating this whole atmosphere, this whole environment that can live for years in this space. It was just so new and exciting.
What about for you, Alicia? Do you feel that that's the trend now, that they're putting a lot more into television series, and so a lot of actors are much more tempted, and the storylines as well?
So we're all just looking, I think we're all just looking for the best roles for ourselves and the best opportunities as they come along. And, you know, in film, I've been lucky to do all kinds of different films, but sometimes there's a little bit of there are periods where it can be uninteresting and you have to do, like I just did this movie Catfight that was super indie. I mean, I think we made it for less than $250,000 with Anne Hesh, and it was like a wild, amazing experience, but you know, it's really guerrilla film. I mean, I'm sure people make them for even less and they would say that's not guerrilla filmmaking, but $250,000 is a very low budget. So, you know, doing that kind of thing, or I would go to do a play with David Mamet or Laura Linney so that I could be turned on and inspired that way. And I feel like that's what I'm getting to do here with American Woman. I feel like everyone involved is so elevated. I feel like I am having a lucky moment where I get to do it in television and film, which is bizarre. I just did a movie with Yorgos Lanthimos, and I'm obsessed with him. He did a film called Dogtooth, which was unbelievable, and then The Lobster is what most people know him from. And to get to do that, and then to also get to do this, it just feels like a dream come true, honestly. I just can't even believe, because like I said, I would go to the theater to do it, and I love doing theater. I love it. But being able to do it this way, where you get paid more.
That's always a good thing.
And you get to do this, you get to create wonderful. It's just it's a dream come true. And Mena and I have been saying we don't really want it to end. You know, we're going to be done shooting in a month, and that was the appeal for me at first. The appeal was it was only going to last for 3 months. It was like, oh, good, because then you're done. And now we're like, I don't want it to be done. It's too much fun.
It's going to come out in 2018, but tell me a little bit about the story, because it's based on Kyle Richards, isn't one of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and it's set in the 70s. It's quite a feminist era.
Well, yeah. So Kyle Richards' mom was a feisty woman, and she was she was in the 70s, and what happened was in this time that she found herself living as a 30-something woman, whatever, she was her and her husband split up, and she was left to raise her children on her own. So we've taken extreme creative license. That was the inspiration for all of this. But what the story has become is this woman who is, you know, in the 1970s, it was not universally accepted at all that a woman had a place to speak her mind about much, and certainly not when it came to the arrangements with the man and the woman. So I witnessed it growing up. I know what that looks like, and it's really interesting. So what happens is my character of Bonnie, she is really an amazing wife. She dresses beautifully for him. She makes a cocktail for him. She's always there for him. Darling, darling, you know, just lovely, everything. And then she finds out that he's being unfaithful. And she's a trailblazer for the time that she says absolutely not. He says, but come on, that's none of your business, get over it. And in that time, he's not so wrong. You know, he's not so evil compared to everybody. That's just what it was. So she says absolutely not. And then she has to pick, she leaves him and she has nothing. She has no money, and she comes to her friends and just like, I have nothing. And she never thought about that. She didn't think about, oh, jeepers, now I actually have to figure out how to make money, and how am I going to do that? And to be so helpless as a woman, to be so helpless and have no idea how to get anything and then have to fight for that. It's a very inspiring story, and I think women and men will enjoy it, but I think women will really be inspired and relate to that struggle that we're all fighting to assert yourself. She's knocked down here, knocked down there. She
comes back up.
Yes, yes.
How do you think it's changed? I mean, both of you were very, very young when you broke through with huge success in the industry. Mena with American Beauty, and of course you, Alicia, with Clueless. What was it like for you coping with that kind of fame at such an early age?
I mean, it was the surprise. I had worked on a film called American Pie before American Beauty, and then they came out back to back, and I remember being recognized for the first time and someone wanting my autograph, and it was just really strange. I didn't see any, you know, lines of separation between me and the person asking for my autograph, and you know, so I had to sort of wrap my head around this concept of fame, and you know, you encounter a lot of people that I think are in it for that, and I just never, it was just a strange time, because I was always very passionate about the work. That's all I cared about. When I was working on American Beauty, I literally was happy to have a job, and I was working with such awesome people. There was never any concept of like, oh, this is going to win an award, you know, I have to do this movie. It was just being really passionate about material and driven and just really lucky, and so, you know, a lot was thrown my way, because everybody then kind of comes at you like, well, you're this and you're that, and you know, for me at that age, and I'm still learning who I am, and I'm 38, you know, and when you at 20, I had no idea who I was and what I wanted to do, but I felt there was a moment where I felt a little bit stifled and a bit lost, and I sort of knew that I didn't care. I needed to follow the material that spoke to me. I didn't want to just do something because it was like these numbers lined up with what you should do next, you know? And so it's you have to, it's not easy, and I think you really have to have a good enough unit around you to sort of navigate all of that, because there's so much sort of coming at you. But I mean, listen, I feel really lucky. This is all I've ever known or ever done, and to have a project like American Woman come again, and to have such special material when everything lines up like that, and so I guess you sort of go through
those ups and downs,
the ups and downs, and then it's exciting and fun and rewarding again, you know.
And for you, Alicia, too, how did you navigate the industry?
I had no intention of becoming famous at all. That was I didn't even know what it was. And being that I had English parents, I was also a bit, what do you call it? What are they always? Eccentric. Do you know what I mean? Like alternative. I was not, you know, I wasn't a kid growing up looking at movies. I didn't watch a ton of films. I saw plays, and I didn't know what it was to be famous. I had no idea. So when it happened, I wasn't prepared. I had no idea what was happening. And it was really, really, it's a difficult thing. And I think unless you have a wonderful therapist or a wonderful team of people around you who love you and support you and care for you and nurture you, it's not easy. And I didn't have that. I was a little lost in the whole thing. So it was really difficult navigating. And so I pushed it all away. I went, nope, thank you. And so in doing that, because I also found I was so much more interested in the environment and animals and health, and I found these things that I felt so passionately about, and I thought, well, I'm so passionate about this, I'm going to really focus my energy here. And at that time, I sort of ignored the initial passion I had, which was acting. for a long time. And so, or I dip in and out and go like, but if you're not in the game, then you're not in the game. And so but then I started doing theater again. And then I did so many plays and I was like, oh yeah, I love acting. I loved working with David Mamet. I loved working with Laura Linney. I mean, it was incredible to stand on that stage and do the things that we did, and just an incredible experience. And then I realized, I think I can do this. I can still write books and do things in that health space and in trying to help heal the world and do all my part I can in my daily practices. But I can also be a passionate artist and hope, and the lucky thing, I feel so grateful, is the moment I focused on it, it arrived.
Do you think the perception of women in Hollywood has changed? Under the current climate, do you feel a difference?
We get asked this question so much. It's almost like trendy now, you know, but...
I think it's also... And I think we have a little bit of different point of view on it too, right?
Okay.
No? I don't know.
I learned from you.
I mean, I feel like, look at Lucille Ball. Look at Mary Tyler Moore. Those are really, really female-driven, wonderful projects. And I think that anytime someone has a wonderful... I mean, women are really interesting characters, and Europeans have been telling stories about women forever.
We've always been relevant.
Yes, we've always been relevant.
We have.
Exactly. We have always been relevant. And so I don't know if that, it sometimes feels like you said, like a trend. It sometimes feels like a tagline.
I think there's always debate, though, about equal pay and
Yes.
demand.
That's for sure.
Yes, and that's an issue. Yes. And you feel that obviously you should, and that you need to fight more for that. What more could be done, do you think?
Well, I mean, why not? I mean, I work just as hard, if not harder, than other people. And I mean, you should be acknowledged for what you put into your profession, you know? And I mean, that just seems only fair to be paid accordingly.
Do you find it surprising that women are still fighting for equal pay?
Yeah. I find it surprising that our show takes place in 1975 and we really have made strides, but really not. And it's not that long ago. I mean, just the experience of working on the show and going back, and like CNN did an amazing docuseries about the 60s, 70s, 80s. It's shocking. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe some of the things that women experienced then. I didn't even know. Not even having a bank account or...
Yeah.
In some ways, I feel sometimes ungrateful because, you know, you forget the women that had to really fight for that to get us here. And we're like, it's fine. What are you talking about? Being a woman's easy. Not really, but you know what I mean.
Do you think, though, is it fair to say, because there's a criticism under the current administration, do you feel that is pushing women back? Because there has been so many women's marches, women are speaking up. A lot of women from the entertainment industry are speaking out against the president and feel that he's pushing women back. Do you agree with that?
I don't think he can. We are too strong and too clever. There's no way women are gonna... I mean, it's wonderful. We have to fight, and you have to speak up for what you need and want. But I don't think you can quiet. Once it's... The panther has risen. We will not go down. It's just impossible.
I mean, second that.
Look at Game of Thrones. Like, those women are just... It's fantastic, the women that they get to just know. It's just exciting. I don't know.
And what message, finally, ladies, would you like your viewers to take away from American Woman?
I think maybe just, first of all, to have a fantastic time. I think it's sexy. I mean, it's sexy. And funny, and just, I mean...
It has a lot of elements. I mean, it's a 30-minute, but it's a dramedy. It's a type of show I'd never really come across. It's so unique. And this time period, and it's visually stunning, and it's so emotionally captivating. I think that, just the experience of working on it, I've learned so much. I think that it can even be an educational tool in a way, and can inspire women, and, you know, I don't know, it gave me a whole new perspective on myself, and like what Alicia was saying, and I think the show, it has all of these elements that are really enticing.
And you want to pioneer for the next generation?
Yeah, I think that any woman and men can relate to the struggle of trying to find your voice and trying to, I mean, this particular story really documents the experience of being women. It's a documentation of the experience of womanhood. And all three women are going through such different things in such interesting ways. And I think that if you're, and even the family stuff, I think that fathers and men will really respond to the family, and that dynamic and the children's dynamic is really interesting, I think, for all families to sort of enjoy and watch. I think it will be incredibly compelling for them to experience people finding their legs. I mean, we're all constantly trying to find our legs, right? So it's so relatable.
Alicia and Mena, thank you so much for talking to me today, and best of luck with American Woman.
Still watching? Perfect. Click here to watch another great video from CNBC International. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.